Take a look at these two images. On one side, you have a rock in the ocean with zero natural resources. No oil, no gold, no diamonds. Yet, its citizens are among the wealthiest on Earth. On the other side, you have a nation sitting on trillions of dollars worth of minerals, the very stuff that powers your iPhone and your electric car. Yet, its people are starving. We are often told that poverty is a result of bad luck, or bad weather, or a lack of hard work. But if hard work were the secret to wealth, the women carrying water for 5 miles in rural Africa would be the billionaires of this world. The truth is much darker. Poverty is not an accident. In many cases, it is a structural trap, a prison built by history, geography, and a global financial system designed to keep the bottom at the bottom. Why can't poor countries just print more money? Why does discovering gold often destroy a nation rather than save it? And how do the rules of global trade rig the game before it even starts? Welcome to Money Stories. Today, we are following the money to find out why poor countries stay poor. Let's start with the most counterintuitive economic reality in history, the resource curse. Imagine you wake up tomorrow and find $1 billion of oil in your backyard. You'd think you're set for life, right? Now apply that to a country. When a poor nation discovers oil, gas, or diamonds, an economic disease often sets in. Economists call it Dutch disease. Here is how it works. The world rushes to buy your oil. They need your currency to do it. The demand drives the value of your currency through the roof. Suddenly, your currency is so strong that nobody else wants to buy anything else you make. Your agriculture? Too expensive to export. Your small factories? They can't compete with cheap imports anymore. The entire economy cannibalizes itself to feed the oil sector. But it gets worse, because the government no longer needs to tax its citizens to generate revenue. They just sell the oil, they stop answering to the citizens. If I don't need your taxes, I don't need your vote. This creates a dictatorship fueled by easy money. The wealth concentrates at the top, and when the oil price crashes, and it always does, the country is left with nothing but debt and a destroyed manufacturing base. Just look at Venezuela. Look at Nauru. Having resources isn't a blessing. Without the right structures, it's a death sentence. But let's go deeper. Let's look at history. Why did North America become wealthy while South America struggled? They were both colonized by Europeans. They both have massive resources. The answer lies in one boring word that rules the world: institutions. In the excellent book, Why Nations Fail, the authors distinguish between inclusive and extractive institutions. In places like the United States or Canada, the colonizers planned to stay. They built systems to protect property rights, enforce contracts, and encourage investment because they wanted to build wealth for themselves there. But in much of Africa, Asia, and Latin America, the goal was different. The climate was hostile to Europeans. They didn't want to settle, they wanted to extract. They set up systems designed for one purpose: to take resources out of the ground and put them on a ship to Europe as fast as possible. No schools, no courts, no local banks. Just a pipeline of wealth flowing out. Here is the tragedy. When these countries won their independence, the new local elites simply moved into the old colonial mansions. They kept the extraction machine running. Why change a system that makes you rich? The faces changed, but the flow of money didn't. This is why you see nations where the president is a billionaire, but the roads haven't been paved since 1960. You cannot build a modern economy on a foundation built for looting. Now, let's talk about the global market. If you go to the supermarket and buy a chocolate bar for $2, how much of that goes to the cocoa farmer in Ivory Coast? Maybe 5 cents. This is the value-added trap. Rich countries rarely sell raw materials. They sell finished products, they sell brands, they sell technology. Poor countries sell raw ingredients. The problem is, the price of raw ingredients, coffee, copper, cotton, is volatile and generally trends downward over time compared to technology. To get rich, a country must move from growing things to making things. But this is where the latter gets kicked away. When a poor country tries to process its own resources, say, making their own chocolate bars instead of just exporting beans, they face massive trade barriers. Rich nations put high tariffs on processed goods to protect their own industries. They say, we will buy your beans tax-free, but if you try to sell us a finished chocolate bar, we will tax you 30%. This forces poor countries to remain as suppliers of raw materials, forever stuck at the bottom of the value chain, while the real profits are made in New York, London, and Zurich. Finally, there is the debt. When a poor country runs out of money, they turn to international organizations or foreign powers for a loan. But these loans come with conditions. Cut your public spending. Privatize your water. Open your markets to our companies. Suddenly, a nation loses its sovereignty. It is no longer run by its government, but by its creditors. Today, many developing nations spend more on interest payments than they do on healthcare or education combined. So, why do poor countries stay poor? It is not because they lack potential. It is because they are caught in a perfect storm, a resource curse that distorts their economy. Historical institutions designed to extract rather than build, a global trade system that punishes them for trying to industrialize, and a debt cycle that bleeds them dry. Is it hopeless? No. Nations like South Korea and Singapore broke the cycle. They did it by investing in their people, protecting their infant industries, and ruthlessly fighting corruption. History shows that the climb is possible, but it also shows that the ladder is slippery, and there are plenty of hands trying to push you back down. The world economy isn't a level playing field. It's a slope, and if you don't understand the physics of it, you're destined to slide to the bottom. Thanks for watching Money Stories. I'll see you in the next chapter of the history they didn't teach you in school.